So much clouds today. All the colors of the trees are changing pretty quick too. Hopefully there'll be more, direct sunlight in the next few days. And what did I read today? How about this one? Apparently it says here in Paris, they're really going on an anti-drone, campaign, as it says here. This one says, anti-drone campaign intensifies as Paris Olympics approach. Thwarting potential drone intrusions, whether due to a terrorist attack or a media stunt by activists seeking to disrupt the event, has become a key concern for the organizers of this summer's Paris Olympic and Paralympic Games. The obvious impact on the side of the small quadcopter was the size of a 2-euro coin. It was caused by a 2-kilowatt laser beam that brought down the device like a stone during an exercise organized by the French Air Force at Villacobly Air Base, west of Paris. To disable this 20-centimeter long flying object weighing 600 grams and selling for 400 euro, the Salas Helma P laser weapon was required. This piece of equipment with turret weighing 80 kilograms is worth around 2 million euros. This serves as a prime example of the asymmetry in the fight against drones. So they're literally bringing out heavy artillery to take out, any type of drone and stuff, huh? It says the flying camera, capable of capturing stunning aerial images for recreational purposes, has become the armed wing of a somewhat elusive, low-cost threat. Images of the war in Ukraine and the battlefields in Nagorno-Karabakh and the Middle East feature small drones, the same as those used by the holiday makers, dropping explosives on the enemy, further underscoring the credibility of this new danger. Nowadays, no major public event or international summit takes place without the deployment of equipment designed to counter potential drone intrusions. Thwarting such attacks, whether terrorist attacks or media stunts by activists seeking to disrupt ceremonies, has become the obsession of the organizers of the Paris Olympic and Paralympic Games. It's kind of an interesting choice of words. It's become their obsession. In this regard, France stands out as one of the nations that raised the alarm and orchestrated industrialist responses earliest. So what would you think in this case? Do you think that's, a valid concern during those times where any toy drone or anything like that, if they spot it within the vicinity, they'll shoot it down with a laser? And at the same time, if you can already deal with stuff like that, then what's the point of extreme over-the-top regulations and all that? It should just be, if you find something within that vicinity and is taken down and so forth, then that's kind of your fault for flying it within that area, if there was clear warnings and all that, in my opinion anyways. But at the same time, I think it's a little overboard to treat every single thing you see as some kind of potential threat. Can you imagine that? If we viewed it that way with things like, let's just say vehicles, like cars for example, every single car could have a terrorist, it could have a bomb, so you'll have to disable it, shoot it with lasers and so forth. To me, that's how over the top this is in many ways. There's just no distinction, between toys per se or actual weapons in general. It's just, okay, shoot them all. And with that thought, it reminds me of that point I brought up before, where when you have officials constantly bringing these types of topics up, saying you have to shoot every single, let's just say, type of drone because it could be a security threat and so forth, it makes people extremely, for example, paranoid. Whenever they see a drone, they always think it's going to attack them, for example, or is spying on them. And as well, it makes people really violent and aggressive towards those who aren't necessarily doing anything wrong. So this was kind of interesting to think about, as this person here posted this video. As you can see here, it says, "What the hell? Using a drone for today's early cycle ride and it got taken out by a hawk or red kite in Hyde Park. FFS, smashed to bits. 400 pounds, gone in a second." Now apparently this person works for the BBC, so you can imagine it'll get more attention. So pretty much immediately when he posted this, so many people were scolding him, saying he broke the law, it's so dangerous. People were going to, report him and so forth, and people wanted clarification, like, hey, how did you capture this? And he actually said, oh, like with the drone and so forth. Because for example, in a lot of places, you're not supposed to fly drones depending on weights and all that. You can't fly them over things like people, traffic and so forth. So everyone's just drone policing the guy like crazy. And people are even, for example, trying to theorize whether or not, let's just say, it was fake. Like this guy at first says, "This is incredible footage. It's definitely not a red kite and doesn't look like a sparrowhawk. Too big for a kestrel and wrong coloring. Looks like a buzzard to me. Didn't know we had them in Hyde Park." So that's one of the odd things, huh? And then there were people like this, or organizations, whatever you want to call them. It's a real common sight where whenever they see a situation like this, it's like kind of like they take the opportunity to drone police them and to try to, I guess, make themselves sound like, oh, they're the professionals, they're safe and all that. For example, this person here says, "You've just broken the law. You are not allowed to fly a drone without maintaining visual line of sight at all times. Also, Hyde Park is within restricted airspace area R157, which requires permission from the Diplomatic Protection Team and CAA. Action needed." So he tags them, for example. I guess it's to get their attention, like, hey, go after this guy. He flew illegally and all that. Now, apparently that's actually what happened, because he was getting, I guess, complaint from officials saying, hey, what's going on? Did you fly illegally? And here's the thing. I mean, what day is it today? Everyone knows, April 1st, correct? So he says here, because I've now apparently been reported to the Met, RSPCA official, and the UKCAA and the Royal Parks, I should clarify that I was not flying a drone and no wildlife was involved. It was just an Insta360 camera. I wasn't ready for the level of flag-related anger. Oh my goodness. These guys got completely suckered, huh? And you can read, I guess, some of the comments afterwards, like with that organization, like some people replying here, calling UKCAA, please review any licenses that UAS Flight Top holds. Their lack of judgment and complete absence of any situational awareness on this day makes them wholly unsuited to the rational decision-making constantly required of a pilot in command. Thank you. And then they respond saying what? And you're a specialist in all things drone related, are you? We are, yes. I missed the fact that it's April Fool's Day, but the warped horizon can be created carrying a 360 camera on a drone, and there are so many people currently flouting the laws and not being held accountable. And then people are just mocking him, for example, saying, a specialist, call the joke police, and then again, hence another successful intervention by the CAA's drone enforcement squad, a specially trained hawks. Everyone's just joking about it, but this is so common in my opinion, and this is an issue as well. This kind of relates to the story yesterday actually, where you had those pilots that reported their plane got struck by a drone. That was just their first reaction for whatever reason. And after the investigation, it was determined, oh, you guys hit a bird. Now, why is that the case? Why do people always have this mentality now, like to fear the tech, always say, oh, it must be a drone? It's because of situations like this, in my opinion. You have these organizations, fake gurus, or whatever you want to call them, they constantly drone police people, even for the littlest things like, oh, I'm going to report you this and that. A lot of them actually, let's just say, they follow through with it. And the unfortunate thing is people let them get away with it. I mean, think of it like any other topic in life where you have people that are so prejudiced or they discriminate against certain groups of people and so forth. They do the exact same thing because it's kind of like they're fishing for this information, in my opinion, is to validate their own, let's just say, personal beliefs or their commercial interests. Because can you imagine in this case when people realize, wait a minute, what exactly is so wrong in this case here? Like people fly, let's just say a toy, you're capturing like an image or something like that. Why exactly are you treating this like some kind of huge manned aircraft, or why are you treating it like a terrorist attack? It would be, I guess, a disaster for everyone who's trying to profit from it, correct? When people start realizing how over the top it is. It makes me think of that other point too, where I know initially a lot of people would blame things like the mainstream media as a reason why you have all this fear mongering and so forth. And that is a factor, of course, but at the same time, a huge problem, in my opinion, this is kind of a good example of it, it's people internally within, let's just say, the industry, or let's just say a drone community of sort, where they constantly look for people to drone police. They constantly try to suppress people because they want to be the only ones to be able to, let's just say, use the tech, whether it's to profit from it commercially, or for some reason they want to use it as a way to elevate their personal profile, for example. And it's a threat when you have regular average individuals, let's just say, capturing stuff or doing, like, let's say, some kind of basic work. I mean, why would they want people to be able to do that, correct? And the unfortunate thing is a lot of people, they're either ignorant or I'm not sure, but they let them get away with it. It's so crystal clear too when I see it. You can go to like any groups and so forth. If you constantly see this one organization drone policing people in these ways, when people are doing
nothing wrong. I mean, there's a clear sign. Okay, they're not on your side. They're just trying to make money and so forth. But unfortunately, a lot of people, they just don't speak up about it. And some people do a darn good job hiding it. They won't necessarily do it themselves. They'll send their own minions. I mean, I still got a couple of examples actually where that's what I would call them, like lobbyist minions or whatever you want to call it. They come, they throw mud at you. They can't debate on the topic because they can when you base it on facts. But I guess I would ask, what do you do about it for, let's just say, people within a drone community? If you fly the tech and you think the regulations are over the top and all that, it don't make sense, what do you do about those people? Because there's a bigger problem, in my opinion, internally like this, when you have groups or organizations constantly trying to find people to demonize and all that. Who knows if things will change, but what a great example, in my opinion, of people constantly trying to find, I guess, a negative and making it sound dangerous and all that.
All right, see you guys later.